I can't even begin to tell you how excited I was for this film. I have been re-watching the teaser of the film, just being enamored by the way Pooja Hegde looks at Suriya. This look of longing and peace, and Santosh Narayanan's melodious yet melancholic score playing in the background was playing in my head for so long. There is just something about a Karthik Subbaraj movie that draws me in. Right from Pizza to Jigartanda XX, he is one of the most exciting creators in India according to me, always providing something unique through his stylized lens of storytelling and characters. I mean, even his most criticized film starring Dhanush is a movie in which I have the capacity to find a silver lining. With Suriya still trying to find his commercial banger in theatres and the absolute disaster that was Kanguva, let's be honest, everyone was expecting it to be quite a train wreck looking at Siva's filmography, but with Subbaraj's collaboration in the corner, everyone put their hopes on this project. And the marketing material was not disappointing at all. The frames looked slick, Suriya looked in crazy form, and the cast boasted of some legends and capable talent. But ever since the movie released and the chatter became unavoidable on social media, I saw possibly the most polarized reactions with this film. Some people absolutely despising it, equating it to adjectives like exhausting and boring, and some on the flip side calling it beautiful, poetic, and deep. I went in with all of these feelings, a lot of skepticism but slight hope too. I can confirm with all of you that there is no in between regarding the reactions you will have with this film, because it is truly beautiful and frustrating. It is poetic yet exhausting. And this dichotomy is something that needs to be acknowledged versus me sitting here just roasting a film for a certain section of the audience's pleasure. Retro focuses on Pari, played by Suriya, who helps his father in his business that includes a lot of violence and crime. He falls in love with Rukmani, played by Pooja Hegde, who urges him to leave the path of violence and live a peaceful married life with her. The constant tussle between what Pari naturally gravitates towards and his love and affection for Rukmani is the major arc of this tale. Retro develops into shedding light on several gang wars, ego tussles, and an internal strife of a protagonist that deeply affected me. The film, through its running time, also introduces us to several subplots with new characters, which I can't particularly dive deep on, but I will allude towards this as this review progresses. So here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Retro in theatres or not. Truly retro. Production and costume design. First of all, whenever I step in for a Tamil film, the case of subtitles being there is always a 50-50. So I honestly did a proper cheer the moment the first line appeared on screen. This is a constant struggle for someone who goes out on the whim to catch these films on the opening weekend as the national chains conflict with their digital streaming release window continues and audiences have to venture into some random screens near their city that might have that one show of a new Tamil or Telugu release. The film visually is to marvel at. I can't tell you on how beautiful this film is to look at. Honestly, that was one thing that stuck with me regarding the marketing material too. The cinematography by Shreyas Krishna invigorates life and color to the story. Karthik is a fan of saturated frames and you can see the pop of color in the background and the way the characters are styled in each frame. I became absolutely obsessed with the wardrobe of Suriya in this film, sporting these windbreaker-like jackets that seem like drops of various football teams have been doing lately, like their vintage drops. The costume design by Praveen Raja deserves all the praise because the story is truly representative of the 80s and 90s. Suriya with his signature mullet and his bike was a vibe in itself. I always assumed that the obsession of Karthik Subbaraj and the use of irony in his films is restricted to the analogies and beats of the screenplay, but you see the irony visually too. A pop of color in a world that is consumed by dread and bloodshed. Unique is not always praise. The one word that is consistently floating around regarding retro and what people feel about it is that it is unique. This often comes at the cost of protecting oneself from criticism. So viewers and even filmmakers, under the garb of providing something new, often use it as a defense for a screenplay just faltering. The reply you will immediately get is, hey, at least he tried something different. But it can't be an excuse of incoherent storytelling. This is something that I felt with especially how the second half of Retro was developing. Karthik beautifully develops and explores the main point of conflict, Pari's association with violence, and leaving this gruesome path for the love of his life. However, there are several ideas and characters that are introduced by Karthik in the second half that seem to disorient and exhaust viewers, and rightfully so. You've got the concept of totalitarianism and the abuse of power, the concept of freedom in the modern age and how it ruffles so many feathers, the iconic chosen one trope, and all of this is sprinkled with elements from popular films like The Gladiator, Mad Max, or The Hunger Games. All of this overwhelms a viewer. Hence the polarization. There are some great ideas, some novel concepts, some great nuance and commentary. Something that I will shed light on a little later, but it doesn't truly weave together. The idea of getting Junior NTR jumping with a bunch of animals, gate crashing the British establishment in RRR is a bad crazy idea, but it developed into that insane moment. Retro transitions from heartfelt and impactful to absurd and borderline crazy, and this is where I believe uniqueness of ideas, the outlandish nature of taking a swing at something insane should also work in the film versus just being appreciated for being attempted. Music, score, and the iconic oneer. I have come to the conclusion that Santosh Narayanan gives his heart and soul to Tamil projects, and his ventures with Telugu and Hindi cinema are just a part of his roster. Santosh Narayanan just understood the assignment with Retro, weaving his magic in so many scenes that I genuinely got emotional even at the brief moments where Pooja and Suriya just glance at one another. The score that plays as Suriya promises a life of peace with her and Pooja just looks on is still running in my head. I go back to what PJ said when I was watching his reaction to the teaser, that amazing art is when a moment in a film can remind you of someone. That's truly art working its magic. I even love the score Santosh Narayanan integrates when a young Pari beats up goons in a train. Karthik beautifully integrates visuals like a graphic novel on how this kid is going to develop into a beast. The smile of Pari is a consistent theme in the film. A man's inability to even experience the simple pleasures in life can be so debilitating. And Sana, in this heartbreaking scene, as Pari attempts to smile in front of the mirror, physically struggling, almost about to burst into tears, made me want to reach out to Pari and just give him a tight hug. While Sana adds life to the film in several instances, especially when a track plays with the locals and how they feel about Suriya, it is that oneer in Kannima that truly left me speechless. This year we have had some iconic oneers, but the marriage sequence that transitions in several floors and jumps from choreography, intense business meetings, full-blown action scenes to choreography again is truly masterful. I was in awe of it, and this is something that genuinely Hindi cinema should learn from. Work towards making moments unique rather than just giving us the lazy form of storytelling. Give something to people that they talk about outside the theatre during the interval. I'm still visually playing it out in my mind. It was so bloody good. When it's vintage, retro vibes, Santosh Narayanan really excels. My man killed it in Mahan too. Cluttered beyond reprieve. There is a point in this film where if you're not an active viewer, where if you come to the theatre to be just entertained, you will definitely clock out. And this criticism is warranted. I see many people be dismissive of those who are being harsh towards the film. They are equally warranted to have an opinion of being tired eventually in this film, because I did notice a visible sigh in the theatre. And you know when this especially clicked in? When Suriya starts dancing on a random song with Shreya Saran. A mid-song that has no business in the movie, and this is where if you don't seek out for the tiny details, the movie transitions to become about gimmicky characters hamming their way through the film and long action sequences that just don't take the hint of ending. The action blocks from a choreography standpoint are brilliant. Suriya himself clearly being visible carrying out these long shots himself versus depending on a body double. But during the penultimate stage of the film, even the grounded and effective nature of the action blocks transition to showcase the hero flying in the air, losing the zing that the film otherwise had in the first half. There are too many characters, too many quirky elements in their demeanor. The self-aware pitch of some of these characters also gets tiring. I mean, you've got a bootleg Thanos arm and a junkie from Morgym acting like a warlord. But if you are patient, there's one thing that hooks you till the very end: Suriya's conviction and the cast. I must commend Suriya just as an artist of what he brings to these stories. You may falter from an execution and screenplay point of view, but if you have roped in Suriya for the role, you can be assured of 100% commitment. Pari, a boy dealing with his own trauma, becomes a toughened man, having little time for nonsense, but if there is one thing that he can burn the world for, it is the acknowledgement and love of Rukmani. The parallels of Krishna and Rukmani are clear. Pooja is sincere and honestly looks exceptionally beautiful. Even with the minimal makeup, I still see the frame of her staring deep into Pari's eyes, and the love is undeniable. There is a scene that both of them share on a bike that just made me embarrassingly smile, like a single third wheel helplessly smiling on how perfect their friends are together. I almost felt like I was intruding in several scenes. The only actor from the supporting cast that I enjoyed otherwise was Joju George. The rest honestly bordered on very hammy performances that I just could not connect with, including Jairam, and especially the likes of Nasser and Vidhu playing the role of Michael. This is the reason why I say that Suriya's commitment to the role is what draws you in and makes you also stay patient when the story roams around like a headless chicken. This dichotomy is consistent in this film. You acknowledge the good, but the bad cannot be denied or ignored just because it's unique. I still believe that Karthik Subbaraj is still one of the most creative and powerful filmmakers we have in Indian cinema. A man who can extract such beauty in a world of anarchy and cynicism. I think that's what's representative of the film and its themes too. The problem this world has when people take control of their own happiness and belief systems, when they refuse to toe the line, bear the abuse, and unite for the right cause. Suriya as Pari becomes an extension of the same sentiment, wanting to spread joy in a dreaded place like the Black Island, where only torture and misery prevailed. Even though Karthik runs in such a cluttered fashion from one irritating character or sequence to the other in the second half, I genuinely am still thinking about the climax and the symbolism of it in our world today. There is an alternative final draft with Karthik somewhere where all of these beautiful philosophical concepts can be said in a more cohesive manner. I truly feel that. Because I hate to see a film like this get reduced to terms like torture or disaster. Because the film is much more than that. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Retro. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.